We continue now at the top of Daf Lamed Aleph Amid Beis in Meseches Sotah. This is Sotah Daf 31b. The Mishnah is continuing to discuss Rabbi Yeshua's opinion. Rabbi Yeshua said that when it comes to the stira, when it comes to the seclusion, so we require two witnesses, but when it comes to the tumah, to the defilement, we don't require two witnesses. And so the Mishnah is saying, you could have said not like that. And then you could have argued that if we're going to say that the Eidus Achrona only requires one witness, so Eidus Achrona shows Sarta Isser Olam, if when it comes to this Eidus Achrona, the Eidus that has to do with the act of defilement, which creates a prohibition forever, Harei Himis Kayemis Beit Echad, and we're saying that that is able to be fulfilled with just one aid, so now you could have argued the other direction, Eidus Harishona, when it comes to the first Eidus, meaning when it comes to the Eidus of seclusion, She'eno Sarta Isser Olam, which doesn't create an Isser forever, as we said in the previous Amud, it's not forever because she's able to drink from the waters, so Eino Din Shetiskayim Beit Echad, so shouldn't we argue that it's good enough with just one witness? And to that, the Mishnah says it's not the case. Talmud Lomar, the pasuk says, Ki Motza Bo Ervas Dover, it says Ervas Dover, Ulahalan Homer, and later on it says, Al Pishnayim Eidim Yokum Dover, it uses the word Dover as well, and it talks about the fact that you need two witnesses, and so therefore from the fact that it uses the word, that it talks about two witnesses, and it uses the word Dover, that pasuk actually is a little earlier. That pasuk is from Perek Yutes of Sefer Devarim, it's not later on, but in any case the point is, so therefore we understand that when we're talking about Ma'ala Halan Al Pishnayim, just like over there you're talking about two witnesses, Afkan Soto over here, when you're talking about Ervas Dover, when you're talking about testimony that has to do with the act of defilement, so we're going to say Al Pishnayim, we're going to say that it requires two witnesses. And the Mishnah continues, Eid Omer Nitmis. Now, what happens if one witness says that she was defiled? Ve'eid Omer Lo Nitmis, and then one witness says she was not defiled. Isho Meris Nitmis, ve'isho Meris Lo Nitmis. A woman says she was defiled, and a woman says she was not defiled. So Haisa Shosa, so in that situation, she's going to drink. Echad Omer Nitmis, or Shnayim Omrim Lo Nitmis. Now, let's say one witness says she was defiled, and two witnesses say she was not defiled. Haisa Shosa, so in that situation, she is going to drink. However, Shnayim Omrim Nitmis, if two witnesses say she was defiled, V'echad Omer Lo Nitmis, and then one says she was not defiled, Lo Haisa Shosa, so in that case, she is not going to drink. And Rashi explains, Eid Omer Nitmis, Ve'eid Omer Lo Nitmis, if one aid says she was defiled and one says she was not defiled, Uki Chad B'had Echad, so you have one against one. V'harehi Kisveika V'shosa, so in such a situation, there's a doubt over here, and she is going to drink. Ushnayim Omrim Lo Nitmis, now if two witnesses say that she was not defiled, how could it be that one says she was and two say she wasn't? Kilomar, so Rashi explains what it means to say is as follows. Lo Nitmis Bifanecha, what the two are saying is it's impossible for the two to know that she was never defiled, but they're saying it didn't happen in front of you. They're contradicting that one witness. When you came and when you saw that they were in seclusion, we were with you. And we didn't see anything, we didn't see any act of defilement. So therefore their testimony has removed the testimony of the one witness. His words are nullified because of the two witnesses. And again, she's back in a situation of doubt. We have a doubt over here in terms of the defilement, and therefore she's going to drink from the waters. The Gemara will explain why do we need all these different cases, they're variations of the same idea in the Mishnah. And the Gemara says, Hi Talmud Lomar Ki Motza Ba Ervas Davar. So the Mishnah said that the pasuk says Ki Motza Ba Ervas Davar. That's how we learn out the requirement for two witnesses. So why do we need that? Talmud Lomar Ba Bavalo Bekinoi Bavalo Bestira Mi Baile. What it should have said was that the pasuk says Ba, meaning to say the pasuk says that when it comes to the defilement in that situation, one witness is sufficient. But Lo Bekinoi Velo Bestira. When it comes to the warning, when it comes to the seclusion, one witness is not sufficient. That should really be the source of the idea that we need two witnesses. And the Gemara says, Hachinami Kamar. No, indeed, that's exactly what the Mishnah really should be saying. Talmud Lomar Ba Velo Bekinoi Ba Velo Bestira. Again, the pasuk says Ba. Ba means not by the warning, not by the seclusion, by the warning and the seclusion, so two witnesses are required. And the Gemara continues, V'tuma v'yalma, but what about a normal situation of defilement? Below kinoi, v'lo stira, you don't have any situation of a warning. You don't have any situation of going into seclusion. D'lo mehemenei echad, that in that situation one witness is not believed, minolan, from where we know that in general by tuma, without kinoi and without stira, how do we know that one aid is not believed? Nemar kan davar, again it says over here, davar v'nemar lahalan davar, and it says over there the word davar, ma lahalan b'shnei edim, just like over there two witnesses, afkan b'shnei edim, so too over here two witnesses. That's what the Mishnah is learning out from the word davar, that in general, in a case of tumah, when you don't have kinoi and stira, so two witnesses are required. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Eid Omer Nitmis, let's say one witness says she was defiled and one witness says she was not defiled. So that's considered to be a situation of suffix, and she does drink from the waters. And the Gemara says, Taima de kamachishle. So the only reason why it's considered a suffix is because you have a contradiction. You have one witness contradicting the other. Haloka machishle, but let's say you don't have one witness contradicting that first witness. So eid echad mehem. So as we've said, one aid is believed when it comes to tumah, when it comes to the act of defilement, and she is prohibited to her husband. And the Gemara says, Menani immediately. From where do we know that this is the case? How do we know that when it comes to tumah, one aid is believed? The Tan Rabbanan, because the rabbis taught, v'aid ein ba. It says that there is no witness. And what does that mean? B'shnayim hakas medaber. What it actually means is you don't have two witnesses. You have only one witness, and one witness is sufficient. Ata omer b'shnayim. Now, do you say that it means two witnesses? Awenu ela be'echad. Maybe it means one witness. Talmud lomar. The pasuk says lo yakom eid echad b'ish. There's another pasuk that says when it uses the word aid and it says eid echad, one witness. Mimashma shenemar lo yakom eid eini yodeh shu echad. From the fact that it says lo yakom eid in the singular, isn't it clear that we're talking about one witness? Ma tamid lomar echad. So why does the pasuk say eid echad? So zeb bona av. So this builds for us the following rule: kol makom shenemar eid. Anytime it says the word eid in the Torah, harei kan shnayim, it really refers to two witnesses. At sheyifra loch hakasav echad. Unless the pasuk specifies and says eid echad, that we're referring to one witness. And so what does the pasuk say? Again, the pasuk says ve'eid ein ba v'yamar achmona trei les ba elachad. What the pasuk is saying is that we don't have two witnesses to the act of defilement, but we do have one witness to the act of defilement, v'hilo nisbasa, and if she wasn't coerced, asura, so she is prohibited. So we see that one aid testifying to the defilement will create the prohibition. And the Gemara continues, V'kevan to midoraisa eid echad mehem. And now, if it's true that on a doraisa level, one aid is believed in terms of tumah in the case of sota, so idach hechi matzi machishle. So then, when that other witness comes and says she was not defiled, how is that even really considered a contradiction? The first witness should have more strength because the first witness is considered like two witnesses, and so that second witness who says that she's lo nitmis, that says she was not defiled, should not be worth anything in the face of two witnesses. V'amar Ula, because didn't Ula say kol makom she'emina Torah eid echad, that any time the Torah believes one aid, harei kan shnayim, we actually consider that one aid to be like two aidim. V'yein devar shel echad b'makom shnayim, and so the word of one aid is not, the words of one aid can contradict the two, and therefore that first aid that testified that she was defiled, he should actually be believed by like two witnesses. And why is this considered to be that they cancel each other out? And so the Gemara says, you're right. El Amar Ula, rather Ula says, Tani, what really should be taught in the Mishnah is as follows: Lo haisashosa, that she does not drink from the waters because that first aid beats out that second aid. The first aid is considered like two witnesses. V'chein Amar Rabbi Yitzchak lo haisashosa. And similarly, Rabbi Yitzchak says, in this case, if it's one against one, she does not drink from the waters. However, the Gemara says Rabbi Chia Amar, but Rabbi Chia says haisashosa, she does drink from the waters. And the Gemara says Rabbi Chia kasha de Ula. According to Rabbi Chia, we have the same question that Ula just asked. Why is it considered one against one and they cancel each other out? It really should be two against one, and we should believe the first witness that says she was defiled. And the Gemara says, Lo kasha, it's not a difficulty for Rabbi Chia. Kan b'basachas, kan b'zacharze. In one case, we're talking when the two witnesses, the one against one, came in at the same time. If they came in together, if they testified together, so then they cancel each other out. That's what our Mishnah means, that they cancel each other out. And in that situation, she does drink from the waters. However, if it's b'zacharze, if the first witness comes in and he's considered like two, so then we dismiss the second witness and we follow the first witness. And in that case, she does not drink from the waters. And the Gemara continues, Tanan, we learned in our Mishnah, Eid omer nitmis u'shnayim omer lo nitmis. The Mishnah said if one witness says she was defiled and two say she was not defiled, so in that situation, haisa shosa, in that situation she drinks, it's considered a suffix. Hachad v'chad lo haisa shosa. Now if you make a diuk, if you infer from that line in the Mishnah, it sounds like if it would be one against one, so in that case she would not drink from the waters, because there already you don't have two going against the first one, you only have one going against the first one, and therefore the first witness would actually be considered like two witnesses. We would believe the first witness, and we would say that she's usher to her husband, and she would not drink. To Yufta de Rabbi Chia, that seems to be a refutation of Rabbi Chia, because it says over here again, or we infer from over here, that if you have one against one, she does not drink from the waters. So Amar Lach Rabbi Chia will respond to you v'lataymech, according to your reasoning, according to your logic, ema seifa. Let's say the end of the Mishnah. Let's look at the end of the Mishnah. Shnayim omrim nitmis v'yechad omer lo nitmis lo haisa shos. It says if two say she was defiled and one says she was not defiled, so then of course again that creates a prohibition, and she doesn't drink. But if we make an inference from that part of the Mishnah, hachad v'chad hoisa shosa. So there it sounds like if you have one against one, she is going to drink. So you can make different inferences from different parts of the Mishnah. And so the Gemara says, Ela kula b'psula edus. Rather, the way to understand the Mishnah here at the end is it's all talking about situations where the people who are testifying are actually disqualified. They're not actually kosher witnesses. They're people that in general are disqualified from testifying. For Rabbi Nechemia, and this part of the Mishnah follows the opinion of Rabbi Nechemia. The Tanya, as we learned in the Brisa, Rabbi Nechemia says, Kol makom she'amina Torah eid echad. In any situation, like here by the act of Tumah, where the Torah believes one witness, halach achar rov deo. So you have to just follow the majority of the opinions. V'asur shtei nashim b'ishechad. And so therefore we say that if you have two women and one man, we consider that kishnei nashim b'ishechad. That's the same thing as if you have two men and one man. That's going to have the same status, and we're just going to follow the majority of the opinions. And Rashi explains, Amarlach Rabbi Chia will respond to you, according to you, that the Mishnah is not there to teach us the actual lines in the Mishnah, it's just to teach us the inference. It's obvious that one against two, the two are going to win. And therefore we need it for the inferences. So the problem is the inferences are contradictory. What are you going to infer from the end of the Mishnah? So what Rabbi Chia is saying is really the Mishnah is not needed for the inferences. Actually, it is a chiddush about the two against one. It's teaching us this idea that the two are greater than the one. The reason why that's a chiddush is because the two people we're talking about are actually two people that are generally disqualified as witnesses. Could go nashim or avadim, for example, women or slaves. And the point over here is that even if you have a situation of two women testifying, they're going to override the testimony of the one witness, bein bereisha, bein beseifa. That's true whether in the first case of the Mishnah or the later case in the Mishnah, two against one, we're going to follow the two. Well, the Kaman Parach Tarti Lamali. Now, the Gemara is going to ask later on, why do we need two cases to teach the same exact thing? And Rashi continues, Kol Makam Shamina Torah, meaning anytime the Torah believes one witness, so we just follow the majority of the opinions. What it means is this kind of edus has different rules than other edus in the Torah. And the point is, by this kind of testimony, the disqualified witnesses and the kosher witnesses, they're all equal. Everybody is equal. You always just follow the majority opinions. So if you have two against one, you follow the two. And the Gemara continues, V'ika diyamri, there are those who have a different version of what Rabbi Nechemia said. He said as follows, Actually, in any situation where one kosher witness testifies first, and we're believing that one witness, so afilu meya nashim nami keidach adamyan. So even 100 women, meaning even 100 disqualified witnesses, are only going to be considered like one witness. Rashi over here explains, if you have a situation where one kosher aid comes in the beginning and says she was defiled, and we've accepted his testimony, and then you have 100 women come and they contradict that one witness, so actually the 100 women are only considered like one aid, they're not able to contradict. That first witness is considered like two, and so therefore the words of one, meaning the 100 women, are not going to be able to contradict the words of that first witness who's considered like two. And in that situation, we believe the first witness against the 100 women, and she would not drink. That's according to the second version of Rabbi Nechemia, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Lamed Beis Amud Aleph.